Hello everybody and welcome to chapter 10 of the book of Shemot as we continue to travel through Tanach. Chapter 10 has 29 verses and it's found in the Koren Sachs Chumash on page 424 and 425, and it also marks the beginning of Parshas Bo. In this chapter we are going to read about the 8th and 9th plagues. First will come Arbe, the locusts. They will finish off what the hail began, destroying Egypt's economy. Pharaoh's advisors are going to plead with him to think about the loss that they are suffering and to think about letting the Jewish people go. And so when Pharaoh negotiates again, asking who exactly is going, and Moshe will answer everyone, Pharaoh will refuse once again. Which means that they set themselves up for the 9th plague, the plague of Choshech, of darkness, a thick, immobilizing darkness. Egypt cannot see or move, although we are taught that in the Jewish homes there was light. So Pharaoh offers a final compromise. You can go, but you have to leave your animals behind. But Moshe refuses, and that will set them up for the 10th and final plague. With that introduction in mind, let us turn to chapter 10, verse 1. Vayomer Adonai el Moshe, Hashem said to Moshe, Bo el Paro, come to Pharaoh. Ki ani hichbadati es libo, for I have hardened his heart, ves levav adav, and the hearts of his officials, Leman shisi ososai eile bikirbo, so that I can display my signs before him. Verse 2, Leman tisaper ba'oznei vincha uven bincha, and so that you may tell your children and grandchildren, es asher hisalalti b'mitzrayim, how I made the Egyptians a laughingstock. Verse ososai asher samtivam, and my signs that I placed amongst them, vidatem ki ani Adonai, that you may know that I am Hashem. Verse 3, Vayavo Moshe v'Aharon el Paro. Moshe and Aaron came to Pharaoh, Vayomer elav, and they said to him, Ko amar Adonai, this is what Hashem said, Elohei ha'Ivrim, the God of the Hebrews, Ad mosai me'anta le'anos mipanai. How much longer will you refuse to submit to me? Shalach ami v'ya'avduni, send my people forth to serve me. Verse 4, Ki ma'en ata l'shaleach es ami, for if you refuse to send my people forth, Hineni mevi machar aber bigvulecha, I shall bring a swarm of locusts to your borders. Verse 5, V'chisa es ein haaretz, they will cover the landscape, v'lo yuchal le'ros es haaretz, so that you will not be able to see the ground. V'ochal es yeser hapleita hanisheres lachem min habarad, and they will eat what little remains after the hail. V'achal es kol ha'etz hatzameach lachem min hasadeh, including all the trees that grow from your soil. Verse 6, Umalu vatecha, and they will fill your houses. Uvate chol avadecha, and all your officials' houses. Uvate chol Mitzrayim, and all the houses of Egypt. Asher lo ra'u avosecha, the likes of which your parents haven't seen. Va'avos avosecha, nor your grandparents. Miyom heyosam alo adama ad hayom hazeh, from the day they arrived upon this earth until today. Vayifen vayetze me'im paro, and he turned and left Pharaoh's presence. Verse 7, Vayomeru avdei Pharaoh elav, then Pharaoh's officials said to him, Ad masai hiyezeh lanu l'makesh, how long must we leave this man to ensnare us? Shalach esu anashim, send the people forth, v'yavdu es Adonai Eloheihem, to serve the Lord their God. Haterem teda ki avdam Mitzrayim, do you not yet know that Egypt is being destroyed? Verse 8, Vayushav es Moshe v'es Aharon, Moshe and Aaron were summoned back, El Paro, to Pharaoh, Vayomer aleihem, and he said to them, Lechu ivdu es Adonai Eloheichem, go and serve Hashem your God. Mi vami haholchim, but who exactly will be going? Verse 9, Vayomer Moshe, and Moshe said, Binarenu vizkenenu nelech, with our youths and our elderly folk we will go. Bivanenu ubivnosenu, with our sons and our daughters, but sonenu vivkarenu nelech, with our sheep and our cattle we will go, ki chag Adonai lanu, because it will be a festival of Hashem for us. Verse 10, Vayomer aleihem, and he said to them, Yichein Adonai imachem, let Hashem be with you, ka'asher ashalach eschem ve'estapachem, if I let you and your children go. Ra'u ki ra'a neged pneichem, look, evil is staring you in the face. So it seems like Pharaoh's doing them a favor, and yet we see that he's only agreeing to let out the men and the children. He's not letting the women, and he's not letting the animals go either. This is insufficient. This is not what Hashem is asking for. And that is why we will see in a moment that the plague of locusts will still be sent to the Egyptians. Verse 11, Lochein, not so, L'chuna hagvarim, let the men go now. Ve'ivdu es Adonai, and go and serve Hashem. Ki osa atem mevakshim, for that is what you seek. Vaygaresh osam mies pnei Pharaoh, and then he expelled them from his presence. Verse 12, Vayomer Adonai el Moshe, and Hashem said to Moshe, Netei yadachal eretz Mitzrayim ba'arbeh, reach out your hand over Egypt for the locust swarm, V'yal al eretz Mitzrayim, and it will ascend over the land of Egypt, V'yochal es kol esev ha'aretz, es kol asher hish'ir habarad, and it will eat all the grass of the land, everything that the hail had left over. Verse 13, Vayet Moshe es matehu al eretz Mitzrayim, so Moshe stretched out his staff over Egypt, V'Adonai nihag ruach kadim ba'aretz, and Hashem caused an east wind to blow, kol hayom hahu v'chol halayla, all that day and all that night. Haboker haya v'ruach hakadim nasar es ha'arbeh, by morning the east wind had brought the locusts. Verse 14, Vayal ha'arbeh akol eretz Mitzrayim, the swarm of locusts ascended over all of the land of Egypt, Vayanach b'chol gavul Mitzrayim, and it rested in the entire border of Egypt. Kaved me'od lefanav, it was very severe. Lo haya chen arbeh kamahu, va'acharav lo yihye kain. Never before had there been such a plague of locusts, nor will there ever be again. Verse 15, Vayichas es ein kol haaretz, they covered all of the landscape, v'techshach haaretz, until the ground was black, Vayochal es kol esev haaretz, and they ate all the plants, ve'es kol pri ha'etz, and all the fruits of the trees, asher hoseh habarad, which was left over from the hail, ve'lo nosa kol yerek ba'etz ve'esev hasadeh b'chol eretz Mitzrayim, and nothing green remained on the trees or the plants throughout all of Egypt. Verse 16, Vayimaher Paro likro leMoshe leHaron, Pharaoh hurriedly summoned Moshe and Aaron. Vayomer, and he said to them, Chatasi l'Adonai Eloheichem v'lachem, I have sinned against Hashem your God and you. Verse 17, Va'ata, and now, Sana chatasi, achapam, va'tir l'Adonai Eloheichem, forgive my sin now one more time, pray to Hashem your God, v'yoser mi'alai, rak es hamaves hazeh, pray to him to take this death away from me. Verse 18, Vayetze me'im paro vayetar el Adonai, Moshe left Pharaoh's presence and prayed to Hashem. Verse 19, Vayahafoch Adonai ruach yam chazak me'od, and Hashem turned the wind, a westerly, very strong wind, Vayisar es ha'arbeh, Vayiskaehu yamasuf, which lifted the locusts and swept them into the sea of reeds. Lo nishar arbeh echad b'chol gavul Mitzrayim, not one locust remained anywhere in Egypt. Verse 20, Vayachazek Adonai es leiv paro, but Hashem strengthened Pharaoh's heart, v'lo shilach es b'nei Yisrael, and he would not send the b'nei Yisrael forth. Verse 21, Vayomer Adonai el Moshe, and Hashem said to Moshe, Netei yadacha al hashamayim, reach out your hand towards the sky. V'hi choshech al eretz Mitzrayim, to bring darkness down over Egypt. V'yamesh choshech, and the darkness will be so deep it can be felt. Verse 22, Vayet Moshe es yado al hashamayim, Moshe reached out his hand towards the sky, Vayhi choshech hafela b'chol eretz Mitzrayim shloshes yamim, and there was a thick darkness throughout the land of Egypt for 3 days. Verse 23, Lo ra'u ish esachiv, no man could see his brother, v'lo kamu ish michtachtav shloshes yamim, nor could anyone rise from his place for 3 days. L'chol b'nei Yisrael haya or b'moshvosam, but in the Israelites' homes they had light. And the deeper sources go into a lot of detail about this plague and express how this was not just an absence of light, this was an intensity of darkness that meant that the Egyptians were physically rooted to the spot. They could not physically move. And so if they were seated in that position, they would not be able to stand. If they were standing, they would not be able to sit. Such was the intensity of this plague. Verse 24, Vayikra Pharaoh el Moshe, then Pharaoh summoned Moshe, Vayomer, and he said, Lechu ivdu es Adonai, go and serve Hashem. Rak tsonechem v'karchem yutzag, just leave your flocks and your herds behind. Gam tapchem yelechim achem, your children may go with you as well. And as we will see, this is also insufficient. Hashem is expecting Pharaoh to let all of the people go and all of the animals as well. Verse 25, Vayomer Moshe, and Moshe said, Gam ata titein bi'adenu zvachim v'olos, then give us sacrifices and burnt offerings, v'asinu l'Adonai Eloheinu, to present to Hashem our God. Verse 26, V'gam miknenu yelech imanu. Our livestock must go with us. Lo tisha'er parsa. Not a hoof can be left behind. Ki mimenu nikach lavod es Adonai Eloheinu. We must take them to serve Hashem our God. V'anachnu lo neda ma na'avod es Adonai ad bo'enu shama. For we will not know what we must use to serve Hashem until we arrive there. Verse 27, V'chazek Adonai es leiv paro, but Hashem strengthened Pharaoh's heart, v'lo ava l'shalcham, and he would not agree to send the people out. Verse 28, Vayomer lo Pharaoh, and Pharaoh said to him, Lech mi alai, leave my presence. Hisham elecha, take care, al tosef ra'os panai, take care never to see my face again. Ki v'yom ra'osecha fanai tamus, because on the day you do see me, you will die. Verse 29, Vayomer Moshe, and Moshe said, Kain dibarta, as you say, Lo osif od ra'os panecha, I will not see your face again. That brings us to the end of chapter 10. Please God, in chapter 11, it's only a short chapter, but it will be the one where Hashem warns about the final plague. I look forward to learning that chapter with you. In the meantime, have a wonderful and meaningful day.